We now find the boys in San Antonio, on the run from the law. Having to get off the streets, they check into a crumbling old hotel known as the Cozy Rest boarding house. The boys climb the stairway, pausing every few steps, expecting it to cave in at any moment. At the top of the flight, they came face to face with an ornate wooden door. Nicky Neill pressed down on the handle and pushed. The door swung open and slammed against a wall. He stepped aside and allowed Ploox to enter first. The lobby that greeted them was big and almost fancy, in a rundown sort of way. A thick layer of dust blanketed everything, and the ceiling and walls were partially hidden by a continuous curtain of cobwebs. The only furnishing in the room that looked halfway modern was a pay telephone along the opposite wall. "Oh, look at Nicky Neill," Ploox pointed to a sign across the room. "It says there's a dining room here. We can eat right in our hotel." We'll see about that. Let's check in first." It was then Nicky Neill directed his attention to the reception desk, a tall counter spanning the left side of the room. He was shocked to find a man standing behind it, studying them intensely. He couldn't believe they had failed to notice him, but he was there, waiting for them, immobile, like a spider anticipating its next meal. A shiver raced down Nicky Neill's spine. Against his better judgment, he approached the counter. The man on the other side was small and thin, with dark, menacing eyes. His hair was neatly parted, plastered down with some sort of glistening oil. A beak-like nose protruded beneath his brow. A vision of a weasel sprouted in Nicky Neill's imagination. "How do, boys?" He smiled, exposing a set of dull yellow teeth. A limp mustache clung to his upper lip like a centipede at rest. "Fine, thank you, sir." Nicky Neill muttered. Silently, he cursed their bad luck. Compared to this guy, a jail cell didn't seem all that bad, but it was too late to turn tail. "So, what can I do for you, gents?" The man spoke down to them in a slow southern whine. "Are you in need of lodging? Or maybe you're looking for the Boy Scout Jamboree?" The boys looked at each other and shuddered. Nicky Neill knew he was going to have to call on his very best acting abilities if he was going to pull this off. "We'd like a room for the night, sir. If you have any left, that is." Nicky Neill's voice cracked, but he couldn't help it. At least his knees weren't knocking. "What you got in mind, kid?" The man's whine became a sneer. What do you mean, sir?" "I mean, we got all kinds of rooms, understand? There's private ones and shared ones. Some got toilets, others don't." Nicky Neill was confused. If a room didn't have a can, where was a guy supposed to go? Out the window? Before he could clear the matter up, the clerk continued his spiel. "Then we got the honeymoon suites and the basement bordellos. Take your pick, buckos. Everything's available. Everything." "Well, what's your cheapest room?" As Nicky Neill spoke, he could feel his Adam's apple swelling in his throat. "Oh, so it's the money we're worried about, is it? Well, well." The man tweaked the ends of his mustache and continued to look them over. "I reckon the Common is the place for you two." The way he emphasized that word made Nicky Neill cringe. He waited for him to spit, to rid his mouth of the taste. "What, exactly is the Common, Mr. Sleezak. J.W. Sleezak." Thank you. What is the Common, Mr. Sleezak, and how much is it for one night?" "One question at a time, bucko." Sleezak's gaze narrowed. His eyes became a pair of lifeless slits. "The Common's a shared room, like what I told you about earlier, if you was listening. Or maybe you boys is the sort of kids who don't pay no never mind when adults are talking, hey?" The boys both wagged their heads in the negative. "No, sir," Nicky Neill said. "We listen good." "Okay, then. In the Common, y'all share a room with 10 beds. Most of them already taken. It'll run you 25 cents a night. The washrooms is down the hall." He paused and glared at the boys. "Take it or leave it. Don't make me no never mind." I guess we'll take it. For one night, that is." Nicky Neill didn't know what else to do. The price was right, and in the morning, they'd look up Lobo. If they couldn't get off to Mexico right away, then they'd find another place to bunk. "Good. Oh, good. Glad to have such youthful guests in our humble home." As Sleezak took up a pen to enter the boys into his ledger, a thought occurred to him. He laid the pen aside and began to rub his hands together. "You asked about meals earlier, didn't you?" "Oh, yeah, I did. Do you serve real food here?" "How much is it?" Nicky Neill added, shooting a glare at Ploox. Oh, yes, we must watch our pennies, mustn't we? The meanness that had temporarily disappeared returned with a vengeance. What's the matter, boys? Didn't y'all sell enough cookies this year? It's the girls who sell the cookies, sir, Nicky Neill corrected him. Whatever! The grub will set y'all back another 20 cents each. You want it or not? We'll take it, sir. We can afford that. Good. Sleezak licked his lips. Then it's settled. Give me your names and I'll register the both of you. I'm Tom Twain, Nicky Neill said without a blink, and this is my friend, Alfalfa Johnson.